morning, students. Today I'm going to start with the new chapter of your book, that is respiratory system. This is chapter number 14 and it is on page number 14.1. So before starting with the chapter, I want to discuss what are the objectives of the chapter. In this chapter we will come to know what is respiration. We will discuss in detail about respiratory system, which includes respiratory tract, respiratory organs. We will learn about the physiology of respiration. We will learn about the lung capacity and pulmonary air volumes, various terms regarding that. We will discuss about the effect of altitude on breathing, how altitude affect on the breathings, and various experiments which are based upon the breathing. So let's start with the topic. Children, we know many type of chemical reactions they occur in our body. And to carry out these reactions, we need energy. And the main source of energy is glucose. Glucose gets oxidized into every cell to release energy in the form of ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. And the overall reaction of respiration is glucose, that is C6H12O6, when reacts with oxygen, it gives you carbon dioxide, water and 38 ATP molecules. These ATP molecules, they get stored for the energy and water get retained inside the body and carbon dioxide is eliminated out from the body. So this is the fate of end products of respiration. Now let's start with the respiratory organ. So what are respiratory organ? Any organ at the surface of which oxygen can diffuse into the blood. See, oxygen can diffuse into the blood and carbon dioxide can diffuse out of the blood. That is called a respiratory organ. Suppose this is any respiratory organ. So this is the surface of any respiratory organ inside which the blood is flowing. So oxygen can diffuse into the blood and carbon dioxide is eliminated out of the blood. Carbon dioxide can diffuse out of the blood. That's surface of respiratory organ is called a respiratory organ. That surface is called respiratory organ. So next is types of respiration. Children, before starting with the exact respiration, we will talk about what are the various types of respiration. We are having two types of respirations. These are aerobic and anaerobic respiration. What is aerobic respiration? Aerobic means a respiration which takes place in the presence of oxygen, means where oxygen is there. So that is C6H12O6, 6O2 when combines with when they both combine, they give you carbon dioxide, water and 38 ATP molecule. This is when complete oxygen is there. So next is anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is a type of respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen. Now children, see here glucose, it does not require oxygen. No oxygen is there, so it ultimately breaks down into ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide and 2 ATP molecules are produced. Now children, look here very clearly. Here I have mentioned in plants, in animals. So if the anaerobic respiration occurs in plants, so it will produce ethyl alcohol. The formula of ethyl alcohol is C2H5OH, ethyl alcohol. And if it occurs in case of animals, it produces lactic acid, that is in case of animals, and it will produce carbon dioxide as well and 2 ATP molecules, means the energy produced is very less in amount. So what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? We know it occurs in the presence of oxygen, it occurs without oxygen. Here complete oxidation occurs, here incomplete oxidation occurs. Here end products are non-toxic, here end products are toxic. Sometimes children, when we go into hilly areas, so their oxygen level is less. So our muscles, they start breathing, they start a respiration under anaerobic conditions, means less oxygen supply or no oxygen supply. So we are human beings. So in our case, lactic acid is produced. Lactic acid is slightly toxic. It starts accumulating into our muscle cells and we will feel cramps. So when we massage with a hot oil or after some times, after few days our cramps, suddenly when we start breathing aerobically, means in the full oxygen supply, so these cramps suddenly they gets removed and our body starts aerobically. It occurs only when we start breathing in the presence of oxygen, otherwise the cramps will be there. So next is 38 ATP molecules are produced in case of aerobic respiration, but in case of anaerobic respiration only 2 ATP molecules are produced. Now children, we know in case of human beings we breathe through our lungs, so this type of respiration occurs in case of human being, and that respiration is called pulmonary respiration. Now look here, in case of human being the type of respiration is called pulmonary respiration because it occurs in lungs. So pulmonary means related to lungs. So to study about pulmonary respiration we have respiratory tract and respiratory organs. So let's start with respiratory tract first. So what is respiratory tract? Tract means path, rasta, the path through which oxygen reaches up to the lungs and carbon dioxide is removed from the lungs. That is called respiratory tract. It consists of nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea and bronchi. So we'll study about nose in detail. So now children, we know the respiratory tract starts from a pair of nostrils. Each nostril leads into tube-like structure called nasal chamber, and two nasal chambers are separated by a vertical partition that is called nasal septum. Now look here, this is the front view of your nose and this is the side view of the nose. In the front view we have at the lower surface we have two nostrils. These are also known as external nares, and inside we have a little partition that is called nasal septum. The whole lining of this nasal cavity, at the starting there are small hair-like structures which prevent the dust particle to enters into the air, and also this nasal cavity, this nasal chamber is lined by mucus. So that mucus also filters the air and it provides warmth to our air. So now children, look here. Each nasal chamber opens into another side opening into the pharynx by internal nares. In the beginning, nasal chamber are present here. These here filter the air and do not allow dust particle, as I have discussed right now, and other large particle to enter into the respiratory tract. Now look here children. In this diagram we will come to know that nasal cavity is there. These are at the starting we have nostrils, and here hair-like structures are there which filters the air. Now children, see, the surface of nasal cavity is having olfactory epithelium. The word olfactory means related to smell. So what is this olfactory epithelium? From where we get these sensations? Actually, in this diagram I have shown you there is brain part. From the brain part, olfactory bulb from the brain, it is passing its nerves into the epithelium in the lining of the nasal chamber, and from here we have sensations of smell. Like this epithelium now becomes olfactory epithelium because it is having the nerves from olfactory bulb from brain. So we can smell like this. Due to these nerves we can having a sense of smell through our nose. Now children, there is again a question, that is, why nose breathing is better than mouth breathing? So children, in nose air get filtered by here. Dust particle and other particle do not allow to enter into the lungs. In nose, mucus help in sterilization of air, I have discussed right now, and help in trapping of bacteria. And in nose, olfactory epithelium is present which is sensory to smell. This I have discussed in detail right now. Next is, we know nose opens into pharynx by internal nares. Pharynx is differentiated into two parts, upper nasopharynx, lower oropharynx. Nasopharynx, from nasopharynx internal nares opens, and from oropharynx it leads into two pipes, two tubes. These are larynx and esophagus. Now look here, this diagram shows you this is nasal cavity. From here nasopharynx is there. There are two openings. These are internal nares where the air enters into your pharynx. Then comes oropharynx, which is coming from your buccal cavity as well as from the nose, and it leads into two pipes. These are your larynx and esophagus. Now let's start this diagram showing you the different parts of the pharynx. Now next is larynx. Larynx is the upper swollen part of windpipe, that is trachea. It is more prominent in man as compared to women, and it is also called Adam's apple. Its walls are supported by cartilage, and in larynx vocal cords are present which help in the production of sound, and that therefore it is called voice box. Now children, look into this diagram. It is slightly above, swollen part above the trachea, that is windpipe, this is larynx, and I have told you it is supported by cartilage. So this is the TS section. So means transverse section. If we'll cut the larynx, so we will come to know that it has vocal folds inside. This is glottis, it is above the glottis. So when the air enters into that, these vocal cords, they stretch, and when we exhale, they relax, and that's why they produce sound. Inside this, vocal cords are also present, which help in production of sound. Now next, trachea. It is a long narrow tube which extends throughout the neck. It enters in the thorax where it divides into pair of bronchi called primary bronchi. It is supported by C-shaped cartilaginous rings, and internal lining is lined by ciliated epithelium. Now look here children, this is larynx and this is trachea. This is a long tube. These are cartilaginous rings, and its lining is supported by cilia. Actually what happens that this is a part of respiratory tract, and full respiratory tract is lined by ciliated epithelium. What is ciliated epithelium? Ciliated epithelium means the epithelium which is having cilia. Cilia are small hair-like structures. Small hair-like structures. So they keep on lashing movement. They keep on lashing movement like this. Every time they just give us a whipping movement, like the wipers of your car. They keep on lashing like this, and it allows the air to enter into the respiratory organs very easily, and it also traps the dust particle till entering into your lungs, and it filters the air also. Next is primary bronchi. This trachea, when enters into the lungs, these are two lungs, when it enters into the lung, it bifurcates into two tube-like structures. These are called primary bronchi or bronchus. These are also cartilaginous, supported by cartilaginous rings, and when they enter into the lung, these primary bronchi or bronchus, they further bifurcates into various small tube-like structures. These are called secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, which we are going to discuss now in detail. Actually children, this is a pair of lungs, and it is lies into our thoracic cavity, chest cavity, and it is supported by a bony cage, that is rib cage. Next is respiratory organ. Respiratory organ is a pair of lung. We have discussed right now. Lungs are thin elastic bags. These are spongy, pinkish and triangular in shape, and these occupy most of the thoracic cavity and are well protected by rib cage. This I have discussed right now. Now children, look here. The lungs are narrow at the tip, and this portion is called apex, and these are broad from the base, and this is called the base part. Base part is broad and the upper part is narrow, that is apex and base. Now children, see the outer, if we'll talk about the covering of the lungs, it is covered by two layers. These two layers are called pleura. In between these two pleura, there is a space. That space is called pleural space. And this pleural space is filled by a fluid that is called pleural fluid. And this pleural fluid which is present in between this pleural space, it acts as a shock absorber. It keeps the lung moist for proper functioning. It prevents the lungs from mechanical injury. It lubricates the lung for expansion and relaxation. And now children, look here. Each lung is a conical triangular in shape. This I have discussed. Upper part is called apex, lower is called base. Now children, left lung is slightly smaller than right lung. This question can be asked, why left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung? This is due to the presence of large liver lobe. Now children, look here. In this diagram of chapter digestive system, our lungs are supposed to be here in this area. So large liver lobe is here. So left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. This is due to the presence of large liver lobe. So now see children, the right lung is divided into three parts and left lung is divided into two lobes. The right lung is divided into three lobes and the left lung is differentiated into two lobes. Now children, see in this diagram in your book at page number 14.2, it is very clear that this primary bronchi, when it enters into the respective lungs, they differentiated into secondary bronchi, they further differentiated into tertiary bronchi, then they change into bronchioles, and ultimately it gives rise to alveolar duct which opens into alveoli. And around the alveoli there is a network of capillaries. These are blood capillaries. Now what happens that when they differentiate, so further they keep on thinning. They just give a thin surface from primary bronchi, then secondary bronchi, then tertiary, then bronchioles, which ultimately give rise to alveolar duct and which opens into alveoli. Now look here. In this diagram also on your book at page number 14.3, it is very clear: trachea, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchus, then bronchioles, which ultimately divides into give rise to alveolar ducts and forms alveolars or alveoli or alveolar sac. Now children, look here, around this alveolar sac there are network of capillaries are there, isn't it? So these network of capillaries, they are here for diffusion of gases, like oxygen will be diffuses into the blood and carbon dioxide will be diffuses out from the blood. This process we will discuss in detail in our next topics. Now look here, this flow chart shows you regarding the differentiation of primary bronchus up till alveoli. Now we know pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. Otherwise all the arteries carries oxygenated blood, but pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. So it will carry this deoxygenated blood to lungs, which divides and redivides to form capillaries around them. This we have discussed. Exchange of gases takes place, and the oxygenated blood, the blood which is rich in oxygen, it will goes back to the left auricle of heart by pulmonary vein. So today this was all about the respiratory organs. So children, read chapter 14 and pages 14.1 up till 14.3 very clearly. Do all the question answers related to the topic, mark them on the book, write reasoning question differences on your copies, terms on your copies. Thank you so much.